What's going on? What's going on? Sorry about that. My computer was really messing with me, and I didn't feel like the last one started off the greatest, so I wanted to start over here. There's a few topics that I wanted to touch on today. Don't live for today. That's something that I've thought about, a lot recently. Not a lot, but a little bit recently. And then wanted to touch on Andrew Tate a little bit more. Really just like to talk about him, especially when people want to come on to have conversations as to why I believe he's a bad influence on young men and why I believe that his ideologies are evil and destructive and pro feminist. I feel like it helps young men. And then the FBI raids the Pillow Guy, another fake FBI raid. Probably we'll dive into that a little bit. Trump is not a good leader. Yeah, for sure. Now we got a question here. Trump was the best leader in today's life. He is what we need. Why do you say that? In what way is he what we needed? Why was Andrew Tate evil? Well, he's not. It's not that he was evil, it's that he is evil. Let's listen to this guy who has the IQ of a potato. Okay. Pillow Guy lives in your head, LOL. No. Yes, Trump is the best. Why do you think Trump is the best? Why is Andrew Tate evil? Yeah, it's very simple. He subverts religions so that way he can get the moral authority over people, but then he'll degrade the same religion at the same time. So he's using his pimping tactics on the moral population by trying to win their favor. And what I mean by that is, yeah, Sean King is white. What I mean by that is he'll state that men and women are different. It's biblical. That it's okay for men to have multiple women because it's biblical and it's also in the Quran. But then he totally distorts what polygamy was actually like in the Bible and in the Quran. It was for widowers, it was for uh, essentially helping women who had lost their husband, who were in destitute, who were going to be quote unquote prostitutes, who were destined for a life of poverty. Somebody who had resources would take on the responsibility of nurturing and providing for said woman. It wasn't this get as many hoes as you can mentality. It was a sense of duty because you had extra resources to go around. So that is, one particular thing that he distorts when it comes to Christian and Islamic values. Now, I am not Muslim, but I am Christian. And the Muslims and Christians have a large overlap when it comes to polygamy in their understanding of it and the teaching of it. However, Andrew Tate subverts that. Additionally, he will state things such as if we were to follow Christianity and Islam to a T, we would have a bunch of barbarians essentially ruling over us, and we would go back to the Stone Ages. He also states that he believes in the idea of a God, but he doesn't believe in God. It's in the actual in the actual sense that there is a God. So basically, he thinks that God can be whatever he wants God to be to suit his needs, which then provides him a moral authority over people who shy away from God in the mainstream. So it makes him appear good and as if he is seeking a higher power, but he's really not. It's a manipulation tool in which he uses to win over people who are in favor of God. Yeah, I mean, it's pretty disgusting. And then he also preaches that money is savior, which that is not true. Also he promotes, he claims to promotes family values, but then he'll brag about the fact that he will ruin girls' lives forever and they will never be able to marry. They will get a divorce if they ever sleep with him. And then he'll also say things like, I will never date a woman over 23, but then promotes having families. How can you promote having families if you're never going to date a woman over 23? Even if you're going to have some woman be the mother of your children, you're just totally going to disregard that woman because she's now over 23. Like, that is the opposite of what a true man would do. Maybe you should use logic instead of oration. I am using logic, actually. You probably just are not smart enough to follow the logic in which I'm using. Uh, I often wonder why certain topics always align with the political banter they are dividing us with. Um, okay, the two are mutually exclusive. Logic from MSNBC. I don't listen to mainstream media at all. Stop placing women on pedestal. They're humans just like you and me. You're 100% right. I don't place women on pedestals. I mean, yeah, that's very silly to do. That's a very emasculating thing to do, and that's probably the only good thing that Andrew Tate is teaching men to do, and that is to not put women on pedestals because they don't want to be white knighted to begin with. So that is a positive thing that Andrew Tate is promoting, but aside from that, it's very minimal. And the discipline, right? But I mean, he has rape allegations against him. Then why hate on Andrew Tate? I'm giving you the reasons why. I'm okay. Well, you guess don't see they are attempting to divide us. Don't let him divide us. Yeah, there are people trying to divide us. This is true. Why are you spinning now? I don't know what you're talking about. White women who vote Republican are more comfortable suffering in white patriarchy than being liberal. Yeah, patriarchy is where it's at. Patriarchy is the supreme way of life. Facts, it is. The man is the leader, the man is the head of the household. Why don't live for today? Because that's too short term of thinking. That's a very like a nihilistic worldview, if you ask me, to just live for today. Biden is not a good leader. You're right. Biden is not a good leader. But tomorrow doesn't exist. Oh my gosh. The future certainly does exist. Sound like Tate? No. um, yeah, I mean, tomorrow does exist. The future does exist, just like history exists. Are you going to say that yesterday didn't exist? It's now just now? Like, no, dude, yesterday did exist. Leader is a very misused word. Okay. The future doesn't exist. It will never arrive. That's why it's called the present. It's all now, man. You said man is a leader. Yes, I believe in the patriarchy. It will always be today. Yes, you will always live in the present. This is true. But you do pass on your genes, and your genes will live past you. And then you could say, well, they're always living in their presence, but that will be your future that you're passing on. So to live for today is to not live, uh, I think, for your children. Joan of Arc was a leader. She still died, but helped galvanize France and England. Joan of Arc. Um, yeah, I don't know much about that story. Dudism, okay. Your kids are not your future; they're their own people. Um, your kids are your future, and they are the future. If you live for tomorrow, you'll never actually live. No, you will live. I mean, if you're living today, so you live for, like, you're living in today, right? You can only live in today, but you can live to better prepare yourself for what's to come into the future. It's always so odd that Republicans think just because Dems think Trump is bad, it doesn't mean Biden is bad. Biden is great. I'm not Democratic. I'm not Republican. Besides, what if people What if the person in question doesn't want kids? Who is a good leader? Jesus Christ is a good leader. Jesus Christ is the King of Kings. You literally have nothing to say but say it anyway. Then why are you here? If you think I have nothing to say, why keep listening to me? But then the future never arrives and you're old and sad and will wish you slowed down and looked around. So just because you're working and preparing for the future doesn't mean that you can't enjoy the present. Like those things aren't mutually exclusive. You can live in the present. Be you can enjoy, so you should live for today then. No, the idea of living for today and living in the moment is a very short-term worldview. It's a short outlook on life. And it's not very good if you have children. It's not very good if you care about the future of humanity, if you think that your life has purpose. It's not very good to simply live in the moment and not think about what's going on in the future, what's going to happen in the future, how your actions will affect the reality around you. To live in the moment is to disregard the actions and the impact you will have on the future. So it's very important that you not just live for today, but you live as if your actions will impact tomorrow and the day after that. You can do good in the present. Nobody's saying that you can't do good in the present. That's never been the point that I'm addressing here. Yes, do good in the present, but don't just do good in the present for the present. Do good in the present so that way those effects ripple out into tomorrow. Like Biden and the left, think about the future, spend money today, we'll fix tomorrow. Yeah, well, I mean, that's not even at all, whatever. Jesus will be our leader, but I'm talking earthly, like right now. Well, be the leader of your household. Be a good leader in your household. Be a good leader for your family. Be a good leader for your community if that's your role. That was a self-involved statement. You don't affect anything. Stop pretending you have importance. Then why are you here? I don't understand why people like you will watch somebody who they totally disagree with and just keep watching them. So bye. LOL. Okay, good response, I guess. I mean, what do you want me? I mean, I get what you're saying. Like, the money's not going to fix the issue. I mean, it goes a lot. There's a lot more involved than just throwing money at problems. We know that money doesn't fix problems. You said live for today as well as lay a foundation for the future. Well, you can only live in today. Mentally, I mean, you can live in the future. Mentally, you can live in the past, but you're living in the moment, preparing for the future. My point in not living for today is this philosophical view of just living in the moment, not worrying about what's happening tomorrow. Don't worry about the consequences of your action. Just enjoy the moment. That is the worldview in which I am saying not to live in, not talking about living in, living for. You should live for today. No, you should live in today. You should live in the moment. However, you should be planning for the future. Your actions should have a positive effect on the future. What I'm saying is don't disregard tomorrow. Don't think that your actions won't affect what will take place tomorrow. That's the whole point that I'm saying here. And I think that that's a very Christian thing, which is, opposite of what we see like a lot of Eastern traditions teach. And that isn't to say that I can't find truth or you can't find truth in other religions, but it's one of the unique qualities that Christianity possesses is the idea not to just live for today. Don't abandon the future is an eminently more reasonable statement than don't live for today. Well, this isn't your live stream, And, it got you to engage, did it not? Have you ever thought about the fact that there are things worded in a certain way to get people to interact and have a conversation? And you know exactly what I'm talking about, but you're just trying to smart boy your way around it. It's like, dude, you know exactly what I'm talking about. There are people who say, don't worry about tomorrow. Don't worry about the past. None of that matters. The future actually doesn't exist as long as you admit it's an unreasonable purpose. It's unreasonable on purpose. It's not unreasonable at all, what I'm saying. Is it worded in a way to provoke a response? Of course. Is it true as well? Yes, of course. But this is why we then have the conversation to then elaborate on what is actually meant by the statement. But let's see. What types of Christian branch are you? Are you Orthodox or Protestant? Well, I mean, I can't even say that I'm Orthodox because I've never been baptized in the church, but I do listen to Orthodox teachings, and that's where I get my theology from, as Orthodox fathers and books. I am going to go through the Orthodox Church. I mean, that is my plan. I want to become a catechumen, I believe is what it's called. I want to get my family in there. I want to get my children baptized in the Orthodox Church. I believe it is the most truthful representation of Christianity. Yeah, the stock market did crash from what I heard. But no, I'm not Protestant. I would not consider myself a Protestant. But nobody who's Orthodox would consider me Orthodox either. Which branch? Russia, Coptic, Greek, they don't share the same canon. They do share the same canon, actually. And there is no difference. They're just ethnic groups. Now you can say that the Ethiopians have a different Bible, but you can't even find that Bible. So I don't know how true it is. It's very hard to find that has like the Book of Enoch in it, but that's the only one that has like any different scripture. But all the other ones have the same canon. And they all do the same liturgy. They're not schismatic at all. You're not proving how Biden is any better, because my point is not to prove how Biden is better. What makes Andrew Tate evil? Well, I've already stated it at the beginning. It's simply to make it's subverting Christianity. It's teaching young men that money is your savior, and then he is basically teaching men how to pimp out women. Here's a question for the board. Will there ever be a day that we do not have an original debate live? Yeah, well, you try to do some original debate topics. We've used to do that in the past, and it doesn't really help. Bro, Andrew Tate tells men to go to church. Andrew Tate tells you that if you believe in the Bible to its fullest extent, that you will go back into the Stone Ages. Andrew Tate says that there is no afterlife. Andrew Tate says that you should sleep with a lot of women before you get married. Andrew Tate says that you should look at money as your savior, not God, because money will save you from the government, not God. Yeah, so you keep telling yourself that. Andrew Tate talks to men online to make millions of dollars. Andrew Tate really says everything. I mean, he does, because he's just trying to get support. He's Muslim, he's Orthodox, he's whatever. Exactly. He's a hustler. He's literally a hustler. He's hustling all you fools out of your money. And then he pimped a bunch of dudes by saying, yo, share clips of me around the internet with my affiliate link so that way I make money and you can make money too. So he was pimping out dudes, and Biden is a great president. Nobody needs your sarcasm. Nobody is making the claim that Joe Biden is any better. This is another good reason to have these kind of conversations, because it helps shatter, hopefully, the binary thinking that so many people have. When you criticize Trump or you criticize Biden, you then get the responses of, well, the opposite isn't much better. And it's like, yeah, nobody's making the claim for the opposite. Nobody's making argument for the opposite, rather. It just is silly. And I swear, everybody that comes on here in regards to Andrew Tate that like actually has a conversation with me, if they're being genuine, their minds literally are changed after we have a conversation, because they realize what I'm saying is true. They just have to have somebody to tell them these things for them to break the spell. If Trump wasn't a good leader and wasn't respected on the global stage, how come Russia didn't try invading Ukraine while he was in office? Well, arguably, it was being set up by Trump. I mean, Trump was sending Ukraine a bunch of weapons way before the war, provoking Russia. And you could just say that Russia was a little more hesitant as to what Trump would do, or a little more hesitant to make a move, because they didn't know how Trump would react, and if it would start a full-on war. We don't know exactly what would happen. I don't know, but Trump was a good leader in some regards, right? Like he had better foreign relations than the Biden administration, but he's not a good leader to his people. I mean, he encourages because they respected him. I don't know, man. I don't know that they respected him. I mean, the dude is just pushing poison. He brags about Johnson and Johnson. He brags about, Operation Warp Speed. He brags about the jab saving 100 million lives. He encouraged the global lockdown. He encouraged you to put on a face diaper. What else? There's so many things. Still respect him. He gave us economic prosperity for 4 years and gave us prison reform. That's very silly, because the economy is being affected by Trump's decision to lock down the United States. Part of the reason prices are going up is because of supply chain issues being broken down, and also the money Trump printed during his administration. Maybe not even printed, but the money that was created out of thin air during Trump's presidency was more than any president ever until Joe Biden. Did he not need to lock down at the time? Was it not? Yeah, you're a brainwashed sheep. As soon as people start defending him for locking down because of a quote unquote global pandemic, you're talking to a bot. I don't see high inflation reports on the list. Okay. Great news for the Inflation Reduction Act yesterday, right? Haha, inflation rises again. Yeah, I mean, a lot of it has to do with supply chains. Wait, are we calling it inflation now or not? So, I mean, it is inflation, but what kind of inflation? Is it due to money printing? I mean, people are saving more money than ever. Not ever, but they're saving more money now. Liberals still support 40-year high inflation. Are you thinking that I'm liberal and I'm supporting a 40-year high inflation? I mean, do you... It's so entertaining to watch people assume one's beliefs and how they view the world, because I think that supply chains are causing prices to go up faster than money printing. If you are a liberal. Okay, yeah. Not a liberal, not a Republican, not a libertarian, not a Democrat. Is inflation taking place? Yeah. Is it because of money printing? I don't know. I mean, there's demand pull inflation, right? Which is essentially there's more demand than there is supply in certain regards. But now you're seeing, which is something we've been covering for a long time. And it's like, what the fuck? Nobody listens. We've been talking about the fact that retail stores have a surplus of items and now they have to lower prices. This is a supply chain issue, and we're going to see deflation. Okay, let's celebrate low gas prices that are still 150 higher than when Slow Joe took office. And a lot of that has to do with Donald Trump shutting down supply chains. That isn't to say Biden isn't causing it either. Biden caused it with his wars on fossil fuel, Green New Deal. Biden was definitely a part of it, yes, but Trump isn't innocent either. So wasn't the Inflation Reduction Act supposed to lower the inflation? That's what they claimed, but they're liars. Why would you listen to them? I mean, it arguably would lower the inflation if you cancel debt, because canceling debt is a deflationary act by definition in a debt-based economy. Now we need a solar act to lower inflation. Okay. So solar power would lower inflation? How? Joe just names a bill whatever he thinks. Joe's not even naming the bill. What do you mean? You're giving the guy too much credit. We're talking about a dude who literally, I don't know that he literally does this, but allegedly he poops his pants. An 80-year-old man who poops, 90-year-old dude, almost 90, who poops his pants and can't even read off a teleprompter properly. Politics is WWE for brainwashed, entertained adults, his handlers. Yeah. I wouldn't say that all the adults that pay attention to politics are brainwashed. I think there's very smart and awake people who pay attention to it because they do influence your life in some way, shape, or form. And they are a representation of your inner world, although they are extremely manipulated. It's not all scripted. It's very silly to say. It's just as silly as to totally believe everything they're saying. It's equally silly to be like everything they say is true to say everything they say is scripted, because it's not. And everything they do is not scripted. A ton of money in the Inflation Reduction Act went to solar panels. Gotcha. Yeah, they did. They did. No, I mean, a lot of it has to do with poor morality. The government only becomes as corrupt as its population because the government at its core is an external manifestation of their citizenry inner world. It's okay. I thought WWE was real when I was a kid. Yeah, I mean, it's an okay analogy to say politics are like WWE, but it's not 100%. It's not 100% accurate. Just like no analogy is 100% accurate, because the political actions that take place. I mean, there are wars that occur from political banter, from diplomacy that failed, from just conflicts, big dick competitions, right? Like there are things that happen organically in politics without there being scripts. Are there scripts in politics? Yes, there are. But are there things that happen organic in politics as well? Yes, there are. So to say it's all scripted is very naive too, because it's much more complicated than that. That's my point. So to believe that everything is scripted and planned out is just as ignorant as the person who says everything the government tells me is true and they're working in our best interest at all times. You're both wrong. So anyway, excuse me. I know I got so low energy right now. Pretty tired. It's crazy. Globalist own the host. Okay. Okay. Yeah. No, but I think I'm gonna get out of here. I Many local elections are legit. It's not all fake, but some lobbying on both sides create WWE like effect. Yeah, for sure. Hillary didn't go to prison. Trump won't go either. True. True. I mean, you're probably right. Are there people protected? Yeah. Are there people that will never face persecution on this earth for the crimes they do? Yeah, of course. Does it mean that it's all scripted? No, it doesn't. But was an entrapment? Uh, Kinda, yeah, for sure. And Trump was complicit in that as well. But anyways, guys, I think I'm gonna get out of here. Hopefully, my family can all get some better sleep. We got a newborn baby, and that has been putting a damper on all of our sleep. It's been interrupting, but it's okay. It's a beautiful thing. It's a blessing to have another child. It's extremely exhausting for my wife. You know, she's breastfeeding and raising two other kids at the same time. So, I just go to work and then I chill out for a little bit, work some more, but that's about it. Um, she's she's kicking butt. She's recovering well. The baby's doing well. But yeah, that's where plus it's late for me. Like I get up early in the morning and then yeah, so hopefully tomorrow I'll have a little more energy. Got to change up my diet too, cuz like the diet brings low energy. It does. So, but anyway, I'll probably do a live stream again tomorrow. Uh, won't be yawning as much. Hopefully, have more to talk about. But yeah, guys, much love, peace.